I love to tell the story of unseen things above.
My name is Windi Phillips.
So Wendy, tell me, how long have you been coming to First Street?
I've been at First Street since 2012.
2012, and you came here from Perryton, was it?
I moved from Perryton to the Refuge
To the Refuge.
in September of 2011.
So the Refuge sort of introduced you to First Street?
Yes.
Or vice versa?
Yes. Well, when I first moved to the Refuge, I kind of church hopped a little bit. Didn't find what I was looking for.
Okay. And when you came to First Street, what was it about First Street that made you think you may have found what you were looking for?
The people. I finally felt accepted for who I was, and I didn't feel shamed for my past, which it's hard some places where, they shame you or you feel like they look down on you for the things that you've been through and the things that you've done. I started using drugs when I was 14 years old, and over, years, over a span of 15, 20 years, I got pretty heavily addicted into methamphetamines. And in 2011, I gave birth to my last son, Jensen, and I was high when I gave birth to him, and they took him immediately and put him in NICU, and my life fell apart. Everything, the facade, everything. It was almost a relief to have everything out in the open where I didn't have to hide anymore.
And you found the Refuge how?
My caseworker, my CPS caseworker, gave me the phone number, and actually Jensen's dad had been there like 6 months before and had gone through the program and had told me good things about it. And so I kept calling Charles, and he kept telling me, I don't have room right now. I've got a girl who's fixing to have her baby, and so when she has her baby, then you can come. So I kept calling him. I call him every week. And so during that time, I pretty much just stayed in my parents' house. I was scared to death to leave the house, afraid that if I left, I would go and use again.
So when did they take Jensen, or when did you get him back?
They took, after the hospital, I went home, and they came, and CPS picked up Traven also. My older two children, I had called my ex's mother to take them a few years before because I knew I couldn't take care of them. It's horrible. And so they came and took Traven. Also, my world completely apart. And Traven went to Denton, stayed with a foster family, and Jensen stayed with a foster family in Amarillo for a few months. And then CPS awarded him back to his dad and his current wife, which it was a little tough to take at the time. So I kept doing everything that I was asked of at CPS. I stayed sober, I was working the program at the Refuge, I got a job, and it was just like biding my time, waiting, just doing what I was supposed to.
And so how long did it take before you got both the boys back?
Okay, so Traven, I got back, it was probably about a year, and Jensen, that was a rough thing. His dad had called me in December, it's about 4 years ago now, and told me that he was moving to Missouri. And he took Jensen with him, and less than a month later, I got a call that he had committed suicide, hung himself, and hurt. I was scared. My baby's up there, and I can't get to him. I didn't know what was going on. Why had Dirk done that? And so I visited with attorneys and law enforcement, and basically I was told there's nothing you can do unless he is in the state of Texas. So I called Dirk's wife, and under the guise of visiting over spring break, I went up there and stole my child back. Brought him to Texas, and he stayed with my mom because I was still living at the Refuge. So at this time, both of my younger two boys were living with my mom, and I was working and living at the Refuge, and I would go home on weekends, or they would come over, and it was still, it's just waiting. knowing I wasn't quite ready, but knowing that it was getting closer and closer and closer to where I would get my family back.
So, through all this time, you did some things that might be a little bit shady and illegal, as far as stealing the boys back.
Stealing my child, yes. Yes.
But in the end, God blessed those things.
Right. I remember on the road trip up there to pick Jensen up, I was shaking. I was so nervous and so scared. And I was sitting in the back seat of the car. And I prayed. I said, God, if this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, I said, just continue to make me feel this way. And I said, if this is where I'm supposed to be going, is to pick up my child, I said, please just give me peace. And it was almost immediately, there was just calm. And I knew, okay, I'm supposed to go get this child. He's not supposed to come live with me just yet, but he is supposed to come be closer to me.
And then when you were in the refuge, then you worked the program and graduated out of the dorm, basically, and into one of the condominiums?
Yes. I lived in the refuge almost 3 years. I lived inside. And then in January of 2015? 14 or 15, somewhere. The years have run together now. Mm-hmm. But I moved to one of the brand new duplexes, had a brand new duplex, and I lived there for approximately 9 months. And then I moved out and got my own apartment, and a month later, both the boys came to live with me.
And you and the boys have been together since?
Ever since.
And you've changed jobs, gotten better
I
jobs?
have. I was a shift manager at McDonald's, and I was recruited at Walmart, and I am now the personnel manager at Walmart, and I've been there almost 4 years.
Very good. So how has First Street, it's obvious what the refuge has done for you.
Oh, yes.
And it's obvious that without the refuge, your life would be greatly different.
Yes.
How has First Street impacted your life?
Oh, First Street. Okay, so I am over here. When I moved over here, I didn't know a soul. And now I have this huge, huge family that they're my lifeblood. If I need help with anything, especially raising my boys, it's hard being a single mother and working full time, but the people here support me in everything I do. And it's nice to just be loved on and accepted. And there's any number of people I could call at the drop of a hat if I needed anything.
And I've noticed your growth since you've been here. And I remember you came as a scared little girl with a lot of issues.
Yes.
And I see a totally different person. How have you been able to give back to the refuge and give back to First Street?
So now it's like Kaylee had approached me to teach Sunday school. And my first reaction was, oh, no, I can't do that. No, not me. And I went ahead and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, God. I don't want to, but I will. So now I get to teach my first and second graders every 5 or 6 weeks, which is awesome. I get to come and be a part. I help at the welcome desk. I get to see the new people coming in and welcome them like I was welcomed. So it's fantastic.
Very good. Well, we appreciate you. Excuse me. We love you. We have seen tremendous growth. Looking forward to years more of those two boys of yours.
Me too.
They're a mess.
Love this
they're
family.
Cute as a button, every one of them.
Love this family.
We love you.
We love you.
Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus. Oh, for grace to trust Him more.